We like to imagine history as a game of chess, grand strategies, great men, inevitable outcomes. We tell ourselves that the world is shaped by brilliance, by the calculated moves of emperors and generals. But the truth? Sometimes, history is just a drunk man stumbling in the dark. Empires have fallen because of a wrong turn. Borders have been drawn because of a bottle of schnapps. And the modern world exists largely by accident. Welcome to the blunders that changed the world. The year is 1788, the Austro-Turkish War. The Holy Roman Emperor, Joseph II, has assembled a massive force to repel the Ottoman Empire. On paper, this army is terrifying, 100,000 men. But it has a fatal flaw. It is a linguistic nightmare. Austrians, Serbs, Croats, Italians, many of whom cannot speak a word of German to their commanding officers. On the night of September 21st, a contingent of Austrian Hussars crosses the Timis River to scout for Turks. They find none. What they do find, however, are locals selling schnapps. The Hussars do the logical, soldierly thing. They buy every barrel and get spectacularly drunk. Soon after, the infantry arrives. They want the schnapps. The Hussars refuse to share. Words are exchanged, then fists. Then, a shot is fired into the air. And here is where the Tower of Babel collapses. Amidst the brawl, someone, perhaps an officer trying to stop it, shouts, "Halt! Halt!" But to the ears of the non-German speaking soldiers, in the pitch-black, panicked night, "Halt" sounds suspiciously like the Ottoman war cry. Allah! Allah! Panic is instantaneous. The Hussars think the Turks are attacking. The infantry thinks the Hussars are the Turks. An artillery corps sees the chaos, assumes a charge, and opens fire on their own men. The emperor himself is reportedly knocked into a creek into madness. By morning, the enemy has vanished, because they were never there. While legends claim tens of thousands died, modern estimates place the dead and wounded between 1,000 and 10,000. The Ottoman army arrived 2 days later to find Karánsebes undefended, the Austrian army having defeated itself. Fast forward nearly a century to 1867. The Russian Empire possesses a massive territory in North America, Alaska. But Russia is broke following the Crimean War. And they have a paranoia, the British in Canada. The Tsar fears that if war breaks out again, the Royal Navy will simply take Alaska for free. So Russia decides to dump the asset. They approach the United States. Secretary of State William Seward agrees to the purchase. The price? $7.2 million, roughly 2 cents an acre. A bargain? Not according to the American press. They mocked him. They called it Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox. Why? They asked, would America want a frozen wasteland of nothing? The irony, of course, is painful. 30 years later, the Klondike gold rush begins. Hundreds of millions of dollars in gold are extracted. Later, massive oil reserves. But beyond the money, look at the map. Imagine the Cold War if the Soviet Union had a nuclear base on the tip of North America. Seward didn't just buy ice. He bought a geopolitical shield for the price of a Manhattan apartment. And finally, the blunder to end all blunders. Sarajevo, June 28, 1914. We know the outcome, World War I. But we often forget the absolute comedy of errors that led to the tragedy. The assassination was almost a failure. Earlier that morning, a conspirator named Kabranovic throws a bomb at the Archduke's car. It bounces off the folded roof and explodes under the next vehicle. The assassin swallows a cyanide pill and jumps into the river to drown. But the cyanide is expired. It only makes him vomit, and the river is only 4 inches deep. He is dragged out and beaten. The Archduke is alive. A sensible man would leave the city. Franz Ferdinand, however, is furious. He insists on visiting the injured victims in the hospital. The motorcade sets off. But, and this is the hinge upon which the 20th century turns, no one tells the driver, Leopold Lodgka, that the route has changed. Lodgka follows the original path. He turns right onto Franz Joseph Street. The general in the passenger seat shouts, "Wrong way. Go back." Lodgka stops the car to reverse. But this 1911 vehicle has no power steering. The gears lock. The car stalls. A sitting duck. Standing on that exact corner, by sheer dumb luck, is 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip. Now, you've likely heard the legend. That Princip was eating a sandwich at a deli when the Archduke pulled up. While he was standing in front of Moritz Schiller's deli, the sandwich detail is likely a modern myth. Sandwiches weren't a common street food in 1914 Sarajevo. But whether he was eating lunch or just brooding over the failed bombing, the result is the same. The universe parked his target 5 feet away from him. He steps forward. 2 shots. The Archduke dies. His wife dies. And 37 days later, the world is at war. 20 million dead because a driver missed a memo. An American empire built on a Russian fire sale. An Austrian army defeated by a barrel of schnapps. We study history to find patterns, to find reason. But sometimes, the only pattern is chaos. The timeline we live in is fragile, stitched together by mistakes, miscommunications, and blind luck. It makes you wonder, what oops is happening right now that will change the next century?